Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Hafiz. A few weeks ago, I've made a video review on the NES and the Sega Master bootleg cartridge for the Game Boy Advance. In this video, we will take a look at another bootleg Game Boy Advance cartridge from China. If you are new to the channel, do consider subscribing to this channel. It is free and it will really help the channel grow. While browsing through AliExpress, I came across this 369-in-1 Game Boy Advance cartridge on sale for $6. From the game list, it seems that it has a mixture of Game Boy Advance and NES games. What I find interesting about this is that it has all the Game Boy Advance Pokemon game in one cartridge. Pokemon games have become much more expensive to acquire to play. This cartridge will be an affordable alternative to play this game on your Game Boy Advance. Let's place an order for this cartridge. Shipping to Singapore will normally take between 9 to 12 days.
2 weeks later.
After 13 days, the cartridge arrived in a unique case. The cover on the case shows some of the games available in the cartridge. Not all the game listed on the cover is available in the cartridge. Games such as Metroid Zero Mission and CONTRA Advance were on the cover, but these games are not included in this cartridge. At the back, there is a list of all the games included in this multi-card. I will put a link in the description for you guys to take a look at the game list. From just looking through the list, there is about 20 Game Boy Advance games and the rest are a mixture of NES and NES ROM hacks. There's a 2048M label on the cartridge, which I assume means that it has 2GB of space. There is a battery inside the cartridge, which indicates there is a save function available. Let's test the cartridge out. Here I'm trying it on my IPS modded Game Boy Advance. The game boots up like a normal multi-card cartridge. It will load up to the menu screen with all the games available in the cartridge. We will test out some of these games and test it out on the cartridge capability on different Game Boy Advance hardware. Let's start with one of the most popular games on the Game Boy Advance, Mario Kart Circuit. Scroll down to the game and press A to load the game. Mario Kart is a must-have Game Boy Advance game. It has more than 40 different tracks for you to play and is lots of fun. The game looks well and everything works as if you are playing it on original cartridge. The next game I recommend to check out is the Spider-Man 3. It is an action-adventure game based on the Spider-Man 3 movie which was released in 2007. It features Venom, New Goblin and the Sandman. Next, let's test out the Pokemon games. Let's load the Pokemon Sapphire. I have been playing it quite a bit and have been making use of the in-game save function. This game was released in 2002 and can cost up to $50 to $200 for a copy online. Everything works as per normal, just like the original cartridge. This cartridge also includes some NES and NES ROM hacks games. Let's try some of these games. Let's try one of my favorite NES game, Tetris. Released in 1989 for the NES and Famicom system in Japan, this puzzle block game is currently the third most popular game ever made with more than 100 million copies sold worldwide. There is a save state function for the NES game listed in this cartridge. Pressing the L and R button together will activate the NES cartridge menu. Scroll down to save state, select a save slot and press A to save the game. Loading the save state. To load a save state, press the L and R button together. This will activate the setting menu. Next, scroll down to load state, select the save and press A to load. Now we are back at where we last saved. Other NES game included in this cartridge that is worth checking out is Double Dragon 2. Released in 1989, this is the sequel to the Double Dragon. In this side-scrolling beat-em-up game, you control Billy Lee on a mission to avenge his girlfriend Death after she was killed during an attack by the Shadow Warriors. This game is not easy, but it's fun to play. Another NES game to check out if you are a Cobra Kai fan is the Karate Kid. Released in 1987, this game is based on the first two Karate Kid movie. The game begins with Daniel fighting in the All Valley Karate Tournament, which was the location for the first Karate Kid movie. This was then followed by his adventure to Okinawa, Japan, which closely follows the Karate Kid 2 movie. There are a total of 4 stages in this game. It's definitely a fun one to check out. Let's do some compatibility tests to see if the cartridge works on all Nintendo compatible Game Boy Advance hardware. Let's try first on the Game Boy Advance SP. This is the Game Boy Advance SP AGS 101, the backlight version. It boots up to the main menu. Let's load the Power Ranger Dino Thunder. Everything loads up well and the sound is in sync. Let's fast forward to some gameplay. This is also a fun side-scrolling game included in the cartridge. This is a fun one, definitely check this out. Next, let's try it on the Game Boy Micro. This was the last Game Boy hardware released for the Game Boy family. It didn't sell very well back in the day as it was too small for most people. Today, it is one of the most expensive Game Boy to acquire. I personally like the Game Boy Micro as it has a backlight screen. Let's load the Pokemon FireRed. To get a Pokemon FireRed now, it will cost between 70 to 310 US dollars. Next, we will try it on the Nintendo DS. The Nintendo DS was released in 2004 and it is one of the two DS family console that is backward compatible to play the Game Boy Advance physical cartridge. Let's load the Super Mario Advance. This is one of the most popular games released for the Game Boy Advance. This game is a remake of Super Mario Bros. 2 and is based on the SNES version of the Super Mario All-Star. Lastly, let's test it on the Nintendo DS Lite. This was the last compatible official Nintendo hardware that can still play Game Boy Advance physical cartridge. Let's load the Pokemon Sapphire. We will load from my last save game. Everything looks fine, just like playing it on original hardware. One last thing, will it work on the Hyperkin Retron Square? Let's test it out on the recently released Hyperkin Retron Square. This device enables you to play your Game Boy, Game Boy Color and Game Boy Advance cartridges on the TV via HDMI. It is reading, but it's not loading. Sadly, the Retron Square does not recognize this as a cartridge. I will be doing a full review on the Retron Square in a couple of weeks. Do check that video out. Finally, should you get this Game Boy Advance cartridge? Yes, if all you want to do is to play your Game Boy Advance game without bringing multiple game cartridge with you. Yes, as Pokemon games have gone up in price recently and can be very expensive, this is the cheaper alternative to play your Pokemon Game Boy Advance games. Yes, if getting an EverDrive is not an option for you as it is not cheap. An EverDrive will cost at least about 4 times more than this cartridge. This cartridge offers a pick up and play options where you don't have to deal with SD card and the hassle of finding ROMs online. No, as this cartridge does not contribute to the game developer and the game industry. Overall, in my opinion, this is a very cost-effective alternative for someone who just wants to play their Pokemon games. It is also a good way to introduce new gamer to classic Game Boy Advance games. And there you go guys, that's my take on the 369-in-1 Game Boy Advance cartridge. Do check out my other two Game Boy Advance cartridge review for the NES cartridge and the Sega Master System cartridge. Links are in the description below. If you have enjoyed this video, remember to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. With that, as always, thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next video. Take care and stay safe everybody.